Welcome to the Horror Friendly Podcast.
It's not over because that bitch is dead.
Let's delve into that a bit deeper.
I'm going to be like the peacekeeper between you two tonight.
Don't fuck with the original.
Yeah, don't fuck with the original.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Horror Friendly Podcast, part of the You Run Podcast Network. My name is Katie, and I am joined by Chantel. Hi, Chantel.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Yeah. Sums it up. I'm good.
Sums it up. Good. How's your week been so far? It's Monday. I know.
It is Monday. It's been a long week so far. Ready for the weekend. I look incredibly pale actually today. I swear I'm not ill. Like,
are you sure?
No.
You haven't travelled into the further anytime?
No, I have not been doing that. My holiday's next week, so it's always sunnier than the further.
You haven't been astral projecting?
Not that I remember.
Okay, that's good.
You know, they may have just wiped my memory and stopped taking photos of me.
Cool.
Well, and so has that given it away? Well, I say given it away. There's also people have already read the title of this one. So shall we just crack on?
Let's do it.
So we are covering the 2010 Insidious. Josh and Renee move. It is Renee, isn't it?
Yeah.
I read that then. I was like, yeah. Anyway, Josh and Renee move to a new house seeking a fresh start. However, when their son Dalton mysteriously falls into a coma, paranormal events start occurring in the house. Katie, do you remember your first time watching this?
Yeah, so I believe, were you with me? There was a big group of us that went to the cinema to see Insidious.
Yeah, yes. I feel like I was part of that group because I was trying to think of my first time and I think it was in the cinema.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you were there. I was trying to remember if Charlie was there, but there was like a big group of us. And it scared the shit out of me when I first watched it. I think it was one of the first films that like we could all watch as like 18-year-olds. No, it's a 15, so it doesn't even matter, does it?
Well, no, but we were so
ignore that point.
No, but 2010 we were leaving school, so it was leaving secondary school, so it was between school and college.
Yeah, so it would have been maybe one of the first that we could actually like legally go and watch as a 15.
Yeah, which was exciting.
It was exciting, and I think we were at that point as well in 2010 where like there were loads of like horror films coming out. They were just chugging out a shit ton of horror films. So it was kind of similar sort of, well, Sinister was a couple of years later, but it was that James Wan was just kind of like getting into his own stuff after Saw.
Yeah.
So yeah. Yeah, I remember it really scaring me. What about you?
It's a very similar. It's a very jump scare film. So it is one of those where it kind of stays with you because of that. I remember liking it, but I remember liking some of it. And it almost feels like two different films kind of glued together. And I think that is it. Like From Dusk Till Dawn, where we said about that being two completely different films whacked together. So it does have a bit of that feel to it, and I really prefer the first half to the second.
Same.
Yeah, which is weird because the second's like all the demons and shit. So you'd think that'd be quite cool.
I completely agree. I think the second is weaker, and I think after watching it a couple of times after, it's fucking stupid. And like the first half is genuinely scary. It has some real scares in there. Jump scares, okay, but they really are effective and they work. Yeah. And I think the second half is kind of creepy in some ways, but you've got fucking Darth Maul from Star Wars that just appears, and that just is all just so weird and much weaker. So I completely agree. I think it really takes, I mean, now we have seen a bit more of James Wan's works. We've obviously seen Malignant and things like that, and we know that he goes batshit with like his films, but it just, you're right, it was like two very different films, and I think the second half was definitely weaker.
But I think that's the thing, obviously. I don't mind that he's tried to do that, but it should have ended on the stronger half, and it didn't. But as you say, like the first half is scary, like, but it's scary in the way that we've seen before. It's very, I know The Conjuring was after this, but it's that whole story. Um, oh, I'm trying to think of the other one. Again, any film where a
Sinister.
family, not well, yeah, but no, it's a Ryan Reynolds one.
Amityville Horror.
That one, yes, thank you. But again, it's that typical story: family buys a new house and then starts having hauntings. They can't move. So it was very much that script that we've seen several times. So it was interesting that they took it a different direction.
True.
But it was funny because again, it ended on a scary note as well. So I was like, it just, when they were in the further, just wasn't that scary, but it was supposed to be. I was like, I'm sure if that was like a maze at a theme park at Halloween, you'd be fucking terrified. But watching it isn't that scary. And as you say, fucking Darth Maul with his Freddy Krueger claws sharpening them was a little bit comical.
Very.
And you had some of the other like demons were just people, really creepy smiles and everything else. So it was creepy. It wasn't that scary. And then you had that extreme, and you could see the CGI, like when he was crawling across the wall and everything. And it just kind of, yeah, took you out of it a little bit.
Yeah. I think as well, I think I've said this before when we were talking about The Conjuring with James Wan's films, where like I love The Conjuring as a film, but I think that what James Wan does is he has these kind of like ghouly, ghosty scares, and they just personally don't really do anything for me. And I think the second half of Insidious was like that, where like they do have, like you say, just these people that look like normal people and just have creepy smiles.
Yeah.
And like you say, in real life, that would probably be really scary, but in a film, it just kind of looks a bit cheap. And I think that like that's what's quite similar with like The Conjuring 2 and like just kind of other films that James Wan has done. And like Insidious 2, there's been a load of Insidious films and they're all kind of like that on that. They get worse and worse, by the way, but they're like on that scale. So like yeah, I'm glad you think the same, because it
was funny because I started watching number 2 afterwards. And it literally just follows on.
Yeah.
Which I kind of like, because the thing is with this one, it's such a good standalone where it could just finish there. So
Definitely.
the fact actually that they decided to kind of continue it, I thought was really good. But again, as soon as they're back in the what do they call it, the further, I was like,
further.
Oh, it's just, they're just walking around a dark room with torches, and I was like, this isn't scary. What? No. But like in this one, the whole build up when she's playing piano and she can hear shit on the baby monitor, fucking creepy.
Oh, and you can hear the man's voice.
Yeah. So
Want it.
creepy.
Oh, and there's certain brilliant things like in that part of it, like in the baby's room. I think that's where a lot of like the scariest things took place for me. Like when you can see the hand, and then you can see the guy hiding behind the curtains. That's like
terrifying.
so fucking scary. And I remember in the cinema that being so scary.
Yeah.
And that still holds up to this day, I think. Like it still kind of freaked me out when I watched it to cover this. And it is such a shame that it does kind of rail off into this very strange. And like you say, I do praise James Wan for doing something different, because you're right. Like you have your Amityville Horrors, maybe not Sinister, because Sinister is a great film, but like The Conjuring 2 and things like that, like they're all kind of similar things.
Yeah.
And I think around 2010, like there was a lot of kind of similar. I think Paranormal was pretty popular around this kind of time.
Yeah,
So
I think the Paranormal Activities had come out when we were in school, so they were really big, and there was a lot, I think. So you needed something different.
yeah.
And I think they obviously went demonic rather than paranormal. But again, like we've seen hauntings, it wasn't that uncommon. Like we've seen that before. Yeah, no, I love the baby. The thing with the handprint as well is it, because it had such long fingers, it almost looked a little comical. And I don't know if anyone else like kind of thought that, because I was like, I don't know if it would have been creepier as just a handprint, because again, like if it's a human, that's normally actually quite terrifying because humans are fucking evil, or can be. It didn't look bad, but it was weird. It just, I don't know, it almost looks like so exaggerated that I was a bit like, I wouldn't have made the fingers quite that long. Because also when we see his fingers later, they're knives. So I was like, well, it would have ripped. It wouldn't have just left that perfect handprint.
The long fingers kind of reminded me of the Grinch's fingers.
Not even Kruger, straight to the Grinch. Like, he's a million.
I fucking love the Grinch.
But it's so true.
Yeah.
But to be fair, any bit though where it was like in the baby's room has made me realize that I don't think I could ever be a stay-at-home mum. And as much as I'm like, yeah, it's because I'm feminist and I want the job. No, it's because if shit like that started happening, like strong, independent woman
so
out
scary.
the fucking window. I don't know how she kept running into that room. I'd have fucking terrified. Like,
I think also like, I think it also helped with like the way it was filmed as well, because it very much reminded me of Saw in the way that it was filmed. It was very kind of like dark. It was very dark all the time. There was never like it. So I guess he was trying to kind of emphasize that there was something in the house with them, but it was all just it was a very bleak looking film. And there wasn't always like, there was music, of course there was, but sometimes with the scares, there wasn't, like when she was trying to listen to something on the baby monitor, there was no music to like kind of, there was afterwards when she runs up, but it all kind of was filmed a little differently as well, so it made you feel a bit uneasy.
I didn't, it's good, it's one of those with music, you don't always notice it. Just, they do it very well.
It's just with horror, like you have have to have it. I don't, because I think we have covered films that don't necessarily have a lot of music in them, but I think with these kind of films, it definitely helps.
I think it is good on a rewatch as well, because you do notice more. Like when they move to the new house and she's doing the walkthrough and like picking up the laundry and stuff. And there's the little boy with the hat, but you can see him just stood there in one of the corridors. And I was like, it is one of those that the more you watch it, the more you do see, and they have put things in there. But yeah, so I was like, I just really liked that I spotted him this time. I was like, wait, there he is.
Yeah, and then when he's dancing.
But again, I love the fact though that there's this whole creepy element about these creatures from wherever. And one of them is just a kid essentially dancing. And then when he jumps out the cupboard, they're like, he wasn't a kid, it wasn't a kid, it was I don't know what she calls it. I've forgotten already. But I just thought that was so funny that actually you've got like you say, Darth Maul versus this small Victorian boy, chimney sweep with his fucking hat on, Peaky Blinders style. Like, it was just two very different extremes.
He was just an extra from Peaky Blinders. He didn't mean to be on the set.
Just wandered on like, if I just start dabbing.
All right, Governor.
Yeah, he'd actually come over. That's the thing. We see him as like an English Oliver Twist chimney sweep. It's like,
are you in Mary Poppins?
Are you? Yeah. Have you jumped continents in the further? How'd you do this?
Oh, who fucking knows what goes on in the further, eh?
Who fucking knows?
What happens in the further stays in the further.
Well, that's what they want you to think.
Yes.
It actually comes back a lot. But I'm trying to think of the other like kind of spooky bits at the beginning, other than the obvious.
Yeah, so I guess like the baby monitor, the little boy. I mean the creature. He is one of the scariest to me. I'm just trying to remember his name.
Darth Maul.
Not Darth Maul. Could have been Long-Haired Fiend. It was Long-Haired Fiend. So so there was, when I was saying about the guy hiding behind the curtain, that was a character called Long-Haired Fiend, and he
was creepy.
Yeah, he scared me, I think, a lot in this film. And I think he does come back for the second part, because I think Josh has to fight him.
Yeah,
I believe. And so that bit, anything with him in, I thought was really well done. And he's also been in quite a lot of the Saw films as well, the actor.
Well, this is it, because Adam, I don't know, that's not his name, but Adam rocks up, and it was so funny because for a second I was like, he looks really familiar, and obviously it's Lee Wannell plays Specs, and it was like, but it took me far too long to realize that's who it was. And so all they've done is grown his hair a little bit, and I suddenly couldn't recognize him. Honestly, I wouldn't have been able to tell you that Clark Kent was Superman, because it's like, grow his hair, put some sunglasses on him. I did have no idea. I was like, sure, completely different guy. So it was so funny because I was like, oh, they really are, bringing on all the Saw actors. It's great.
They really are. Yeah, Lee Wano and James Wan are 100% back.
Sorry, yeah, no, he really freaked me out. But I think that was the thing, because then there was like a jump scare in the hallway as well at one point, where it was like almost like the Shining twins fucking appearing. Some of the spooky characters would pop up and you'd only see them for a split second, and then that was kind of it for the film. So then obviously, yeah, I mean, what is Darth Maul's name? I'm sure that demon had a name.
Is it Red Face Demon, or have I
think that is
completely
what-
made that up?
No, they definitely refer to him that way.
Lipstick Face Demon.
Are you fucking kidding?
Lipstick Face Demon.
Because I'm sure in the film they called him like Fire Face Demon, or the demon with, yeah,
Well, I think that's how Dalton draws him.
Lipstick Face Demon. That's me after a night out.
Yeah, I feel like that's kind of like, I don't know, like
That's
I'm
me
feeling
when I'm
that.
smudged and trying to find like the bed. Like
That's you after a night out getting a kebab.
Literally, that's the Lipstick Face Demon, not that fucking thing.
That's hilarious.
Jesus.
Well, you know what? Like after this was like kind of in the midst of the Saw films and after Dead Silence, this was kind of the first film that started all like the Conjuring series franchise and the Insidious, obviously the Insidious franchise.
Yeah.
And Annabelle and things like that. So I wonder whether they were just kind of starting out and giving these kind of shit names because maybe they like kind of weren't as familiar and used to making these kind of films.
Yeah.
But there could definitely be a better name for the demon.
It's just not scary. If somebody was like, you have to fight the Lipstick Face Demon, I'd be like, okay.
Do you, sorry, let me ask this properly. The way he looks as a demon, what do you think? Are you scared by him? Do you think he looks scary?
I think yes and no. I think when you first see him, that first jump scare, and when you see even before that, yeah. But before that, when she's staring into the corner and she's describing him and they see him in a picture, that's scary. And the idea of him is really scary. And all the, again, because I think they call him like Fireface Demon. That's really scary, like the kids drawing. And then when he does that jump behind Patrick Wilson's head, which became iconic, like back in 2010. I even had one at Derby the other day. There's a photo of me. I'll send it to you, but I won't put it up because obviously it's got one of my teammates in it. But I popped up behind them, and it's just as soon as someone's face was like a quarter in a photo, it was that. And so it's my favorite fucking gift. But even I couldn't remember where that was in the film. So as soon as I saw that background, I was like, I think it's coming. I think it's coming. I'm not sure. I think it's, and then it did. And that still gets me. Very scary. When he's in the further and he's like in the window, that's a bit creepy.
Oh yeah.
But again, when he's running around the walls and that, and he's a bit CGI'd, it's not scary because you can kind of tell he's CGI'd. So it kind of takes the fear away.
Yeah, I think for me, and it sounds like for you as well, when you put too much CGI in horror, that's where it kind of fucks it up for me. Yeah. Like Andy Muschietti, sorry, I don't know if I'm murdering that name, who directs Mama and It. I felt like with It, I felt like Pennywise was so CGI'd and it just wasn't scary to me. So I think when too much CGI is used in horror films, I think it can really, really do it a disservice. I think
we said that a few times where like the practical effects will always hold up more than the CGI because CGI and tech changes so quickly. Within a year, it looks dated, but practical effects way outlast.
Yeah,
and every now and then you can
Timeless.
tell, that was a dummy thrown for a window, Nightmare on Elm Street, but for the majority, no, definitely
Friday the 13th, Tom Savini in a wig,
definitely not. At least that was a human. It's when the dummy gets ripped through the window and you're like,
amazing.
But again, you're also a bit more forgiving if it's a practical effect that goes slightly wrong. Whereas CGI, absolutely, you could batter it. And it's like, yeah. And I think that was the thing.
You can fuck it up.
Yeah. And he was very scary, like in the shadows, when you couldn't quite see him as well. And as an idea. And then it kind of ruined him a little bit, unfortunately.
Yeah. I think I'm going to agree with that. And yeah, like you say, that is a very famous jump scare when you've got like Josh. I think you see the mum's reaction first, and then it suddenly quick cuts to Josh and then the demon's face. Because it also got memed because it was like, all these fucking scary things need to stop standing behind Patrick Wilson, because in The Conjuring, when he plays Ed Warren, there's obviously Bathsheba hanging from the tree. And it's just like, Patrick Wilson, you've just got to stop, man.
He was in Bone Tomahawk the other week. Like, he just needs to stop hanging out with the creepy things. Like, can he stop, please?
Can he please stop?
He never sees them coming. Sorry.
No, you go.
I did like how it kind of showed their marriage falling apart. And again, that's a very typical cliche of these sort of films of like new house. It's very stressful. He was very supportive at the beginning with his wife, where he was like, I he didn't necessarily believe her, but he was like, but I'm here for you. I can't see what you can see, but I'll do what you need me to do. Which he then didn't really follow through on, because he kept working late. And then, because again, it kind of showed that relationship and showed him in doubt. And then even when she was trying to deal with it, he was just silent. Like, he just didn't know what to make of anything, and then only to find out that actually it had happened to him before. So I did kind of like that, how the mum was so sorry, I'm gonna actually find the mum's name. Rose. Renee. Oh, sorry, yeah, Rose Byrne is the actress. Renee was so like, we need to take action, it's our kids. She was so like mama bear, and he was so like just aware his kid was in a coma, there was nothing they could do. He'd kind of accepted that, but wasn't fighting as much.
No.
So when all of a sudden it was like, oh no, you have to now fight and go into this dark place and dream walk or whatever it was. Like, come on, Patrick, off you go.
Yeah. I also love how like no one gave a fuck about the other kid.
Yeah,
Foster. Like, everyone was just like, he's just there.
As I say, because we saw more of the baby than we did of the actual child. Wait, where was he during all of this? Because Grandma was there.
No one gives a fuck about Foster.
No one gives a fuck about Foster. That's why they gave him that name, because he was actually fostered out, because they were like, sorry, you're in the way.
He's a foster kid.
He literally, they just were like, sorry, we've got shit to deal with Dalton and the baby.
Yeah. Like, just stand over there, Foster.
It wasn't explained where they were during. I'm assuming with her parents, but we weren't told. As far as we knew, they were like, as long as Dalton's back, fuck you two. We'll sell your souls as long as we get Dalton back. Like, it was so focused on one kid.
It was very strange. Yeah. They probably didn't need to have like another kid. It was probably just Dalton, and the baby probably would have been fine.
Yeah, because they needed a reason to have a baby monitor. But yeah, unfortunately, Foster didn't really have a purpose, did he?
No. Pray for Foster.
Sorry, Foster.
Source Foster.
Harsh truth. When there's more than two kids, suddenly some of you become obsolete. I say as the third.
I'm the second, I'm the favorite.
Yeah, you're the baby. I'm the third of four. I was like, cool man. Cool. You're just one of the pack.
Cool.
But we did have what did you make of like Specs and Tucker, so our Ghostbusters essentially?
I got why they were there, obviously, to introduce Elise. She's like a big, obviously we didn't know this at the time, but she's obviously a big part of the Insidious films, and a big part of this film. You know what, when I first met them, I didn't love it. I got that maybe they were kind of comic relief for quite a dark, bleak film. Did I love them? No. Do I think that they were necessary for some of the parts? Yeah, because they were helping Elise, and it kind of there was quite a nice group where you had those two and then Elise, but kind of irritating, not that funny in some parts, but I wasn't massively convinced by them.
Yeah, it just seemed a bit, for me, I was like, it's a bit insulting that Lorraine has called Elise, and she, despite the fact knowing Lorraine has been through all this before, was like, oh, I'm still going to send the boys ahead just in case it's not. And it's like, well, hang on a second. I thought you two were friends. Like,
Yeah.
do you know what I mean? I was like a bit harsh. I did like the bit. I actually can't. I think it was Specs that was doing the writing. That
was cool.
There, that whole like Ouija, but I know it's not a Ouija board they use, but that whole communicating bit, that was cool. That was creepy.
That's so true. And when Elise puts on that like gas mask thing, that was like really intense.
Like, I mean, I kind of get it was different because again, we've not seen it where like someone else has had to read it out and you said like, so I thought using the like writing was a really good way of showing something different.
Yeah.
But that gas mask just felt so extra, so unnecessary. But then I also don't hate it, but it was like, because I need this tube because I'm going to be whispering. I was like, can the ghosts hear you? Like you're whispering into a mask. I don't know. It just cracked me up a little bit. I was like, this is slightly hard to take serious, but then also very Doctor Who vibes. Which maybe
that's very true.
Well, I was gonna say maybe that was it. It's an American film, and it's only the British kids that were traumatized by that episode.
I mean, it was scary. Did you think that was unnecessary, the gas mask then, or did you quite like? Yeah,
I kind of liked it, but I think again, as a British kid, it was like, oh, Doctor Who vibes.
Yeah,
it was that kind of. And again, like we saw loads of the fucking gas masks all through school because of learning World War II history. Sorry, my chair is really creaky tonight. I'm kind of hoping my microphone's not picking it up. So I was like, for us, I feel like that's quite an added extra level. Like it's a little bit out of place because again, like where we've learned about gas masks was definitely not in like the spiritual realm. But again, they tried something different. It just felt very extra.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you like it? Did you?
I didn't mind it. I think everyone else's reaction to it around the table was quite cool. I think everyone thought like, this is fucking intense. Like, is this really necessary? I thought that was quite funny.
At that point, it's like, is this real? Like, no.
Yeah, is Elise like the real deal? I don't know.
But then the scribbling was good. So I was like, okay, it does work for that.
The scribbling was good, actually. Yeah, that was good.
The photos they were taking, did we see any of them?
No, I don't think we did. That's a good point.
I'd be very interested if the old lady was behind Patrick Wilson. Because again,
because obviously, you pick that up in the second one, right?
Yes, so they do mention it in the first one, but they pick it back up again. But obviously the mum is like, oh, I hid all these photos from your childhood from you.
Yes,
and the old lady's getting closer and closer. And
I didn't hate that, actually.
I didn't hate that, and I did like that again. It wasn't Darth Maul, so I liked but because I was like, it would have been very easy for it to be one demon causing all these problems. So I liked that actually they had different people, but I thought it was really funny that he had an old lady and his kid had Darth Maul. I was like, those are two extremes. Like, why has your son got something from the seventh pit of hell and you've got an old lady? Like, what?
Yeah,
he's got the fucking witch from Hansel and Gretel. How is this fair? Like,
you know what though, after seeing Insidious 2, and if any listeners out there have seen Insidious 2 and you've seen most of it, I do think the old lady is scarier given the background of the old lady. I will say that. I will say it's scarier than Darth Maul. But then a lot of things are scarier than Darth Maul too. So
yeah, it's not a high bar really, is it?
No.
But I really love that last when you see the camera. And it's like she takes the photo and then it's like, why would you do that? And he flips. And then the wife comes in and picks up the camera and the last thing she sees is that. And then her husband's like, what's wrong? And it's like, well, you're an old lady, apparently. So what would you do?
I don't know. Like, freak the fuck out.
Just scream.
That's what I do. Yeah, I think I would.
Yeah. Like it's so scary.
It is. It's really funny as I'm recording this. There's like an umbrella that's sitting like up on my door, and like from the corner of my eye, it looks like someone's standing there.
Someone behind you. Hi.
So if anyone watching this on YouTube sees me constantly looking over here, I'm just checking Darth Maul isn't coming to get me.
Checking the umbrella doesn't have a red lipstick face.
Yeah.
Umbrella
red lipstick demon.
Red lipstick demon. Was it red lipstick? Just lipstick face demon.
Lipstick face demon.
Hey. Oh god. So it was actually the film was going to be named The Further.
Okay.
Because I suppose that's where they spent half the film. Because what is I looked up earlier what Insidious means because it's like slow shit.
Isn't it like really bad, like really evil,
Yeah, it's like
dark
evil something. I'm gonna get the
Yeah.
exact words so that I don't. The Oxford
It's funny
definition. Sorry.
It's funny that James Wan does name those films like Insidious and like The Conjuring and like
Yeah.
Malignant. They're all kind of like quite powerful words.
So
It's quite interesting.
Proceeding in a gradual, subtle way, but with very harmful effects.
Okay.
So that is quite true because obviously the way they do it, yeah.
Yeah, I guess that works.
But again, it's not a word I heard until this film. So I do kind of like that.
Yeah.
I also like the credits again when the word pops up, like when it's just Insidious is very 80s.
Yes, I actually really enjoyed that because also when it pops up, it also makes you jump as well. Like I remember in the cinema, it really made me jump.
Yeah.
It's like all these violins and just like these flames. And it was very extra, but it really works for the film, I think.
Yeah, and we were just there like, what the fuck have we agreed to watch? I thought it was, it was really good.
And funnily enough, I always used to think that the first time you hear Tiptoe Through the Tulips was when you see Darth Maul sewing or like filing his like nails before he goes out for a bath. Like, but it wasn't because the little boy is dancing to it, right?
Yeah, the little he changes the record while she's out.
Yeah, he's just like, this is my jam.
Doing his nails before he goes out. But why is he in like a fucking toy shop?
This is where it all gets a bit fucking stupid for me.
Like him sharpening his nails, like girls got to do what girls got to do before night out. But but why in a toy shop? Like they could have put him somewhere really fucking creepy.
Well, I guess it was meant to be. It was meant. I mean, like James Wan, his thing is dolls, right? You know, Billy the Puppet, Dead Silence.
Yeah, true.
Maybe it was kind of playing on that a little bit.
Not enough. It wasn't creepy enough.
No, you're right. Yeah.
Like again, because it's like, oh, the demon of like childhood nightmares and bullshit. Like I'm sure there was a reason, but again, it kind of took away from that creepiness.
Yeah, I would actually like to kind of pause that scene and kind of look properly as to like what's in there, and it would be cool to like ask James Wan like the reason for the look of that.
Why?
Why?
James Wan, Darth Maul getting ready for a night out. Why?
Oh god, I'd ask him so many questions. Oh my god, this director, man, he's just.
I would love to have a drink with him and just be like, I need to pick your brain.
Yeah, I need to pick your brain about Saw. Malignant. What was that?
Why? Because again, like some of it, I'm like, it is the stuff of nightmares, like fair fucking play. And I wonder if there is someone who's like, dude, you've got to diet down. Like, maybe. Because again, like some of it has the potential to be fucking horrific. But I do wonder if he kind of wants to make it more accessible. I really don't know. I'm completely speculating.
I felt like the first half of the film was genuinely scary. Yeah, very effective. And I felt like the second half was more James Wan kind of wanting to get like a signature face of the film. So maybe it brought in like more an audience. Maybe it then became, because obviously when anyone watches Insidious or thinks of Insidious, they think of like this Darth Maul character. So, and it gets people talking about it, it gets people watching it. So maybe that was one of his reasons. It's like, this is going to stay with people regardless of whether they like it or not. It's going to be something that like they remember of the film, like whether they think it's good or not.
Yeah,
it's a totally different. I don't know. It could be that.
To be fair, because like, again, to be fair, when I think of Insidious, I do think of Darth Maul, but I think of that jump scare.
Yeah.
But also, again, if they were going to call it the Further, I'm assuming that the Further was the original idea. So when they were coming up with the idea in the script, the Further was probably the part they were thinking about more, and then the rest was kind of how do you get there?
True.
Which is slightly upsetting that that's the bit that's not as good.
Yeah, because obviously they must have really kind of put a lot of thought into that
Yeah.
part. Yeah, because I'm trying to remember what other things were in the further. I can't believe
Yeah.
I've completely forgotten them.
This is the problem, isn't it? It's like, yeah, because it's like a family, it's not even a I don't know, like a group of people like sat on the sofa, absolutely frozen. Yeah, there are things in there, but again, it felt like he was in there for a long time, but didn't have to do a lot.
Mm.
And then all of a sudden he was like rushing back to the house and trying to get in, but it was like, it didn't feel, I think there was supposed to be a lot more build up and it just wasn't as scary as
Yeah, and you're right about the family. And they're just like sitting by the sofa, and then like one of them's ironing and one of them's
yeah.
just like sitting there, and it's a bit kind of like
I mean, can
this
you
is where
imagine
it's
being
just all a
in
bit fucking stupid.
can you imagine being in hell and having to iron? That is fucking hell. Like, I don't iron now. Like, fuck off.
Yeah. Yeah, there wasn't maybe there wasn't a lot going on in the first one.
I don't think there was as much as we wanted there to be. I think because again, it's supposed to be really scary when he finally finds his son and his son's like chained down, and yeah, we see Darth Maul getting ready, but it just wasn't by that point. Again, it was almost comical,
Mm.
which I don't think was what they were going for.
Yeah.
um,
And like the doll girl and things like that.
yeah.
It's just
Oh yeah,
for me, that kind of thing just isn't really my thing. And I think
yeah,
that's really cheesy, given like how scary the first part was. It kind of annoyed me that they went down that cheaper route of just being like,
yeah.
oh, I'm a scary face girl doll. Like, let's get something a bit different in here. Do you know what I mean?
So that's the other thing I think about this. I think when we first saw it, because I didn't know kind of as much as I do now about like kind of movie making and that sort of thing, this came across as almost a low budget film. Not because it's like the actors, and that's the thing now, you look at it and go, fuck, there's some really big names. Like this wasn't cheap. And there was some stuff done that wasn't cheap. But I think again, something like the CGI doesn't look. And again, I'm so sorry if someone did the CGI ever hears this, but it doesn't look as well done. But again, not because the CGI wasn't done well for the time, but 14 years later, it doesn't look as good because it doesn't
Mm.
last.
Mm.
But this was made on a budget of 1.5 million, and it made over 100 million. So
Mm.
it's one of the most profitable films of 2011.
Amazing.
But again, I remember thinking this was like low budget, and I think a lot of that is to do with the second half, just essentially being him walking through a dark room. And
I would say that's
yeah,
kind of for like a well-known actors and for a Blumhouse film. I'd say that's relatively low budget.
yeah, I'm trying to remember what like some. I
Yeah,
feel
I
it
mean,
was
I could be very
yeah,
wrong saying that, but I think certainly for a Blumhouse film, I
yeah.
think it's pretty, I would say
1.5
it's pretty
mil
good.
sounds like a lot of fucking money, but
Well, when
some
you're
films
thinking
from
of
the
like a
80s,
feature-length film,
yeah. And again, you're paying so many wages out of that. Yeah, it does go quickly.
exactly. And I'm sure like Patrick Wilson, Rose Byrne, like they weren't cheap, you
No.
know.
Um,
Um,
However, speaking of
mm,
actors, and as you already mentioned, Sinister as well, Ethan Hawke actually turned down the role of Josh Lambert. So
really?
it went to Patrick Wilson, obviously, but then he'd go on to be in Sinister. So there was Charlie when we did Bone Tomahawk saying how she always compares those two, and I was like, no, they're completely different. I wouldn't put them for the same role. Apparently, they literally both. Well, Ethan Hawke turned it down. So
Wow.
fuck me. What do
Yeah.
I know?
Wow, exactly. There we go. What do we fucking
What
know?
do we fucking know? Nothing. That's why
Um,
we're here.
I do prefer Sinister as a film. I will say that. So, I mean, this is Sinister. Um, possibly was a sorry. Now I'm just trying to find out if Sinister was a Blumhouse film before I just say that.
I
Yes, Sinister. Yeah, it was produced by Jason Blum. So,
yeah.
Sinister was a Blumhouse film, but obviously it wasn't directed by James Wan. But I did prefer Sinister. I will put that out there.
It's just so good.
That's very interesting. So maybe if he
Yeah.
accepted and he accepted Insidious, he might not have accepted Sinister.
True.
So maybe it was for the best.
Maybe it was. That's such a good film. Um, but yeah, I feel again we keep doing this. We keep just smashing through the films.
I know.
Um, did you see the Saw reference though in this?
I didn't see it at the time.
But you know of it?
I know of it because I watched a YouTube video about it. So please explain.
So when we see Patrick Wilson's character Josh in his classroom on the phone, he's ringing his wife. I keep forgetting his wife's name.
Renee.
Renee, why do I keep forgetting that? You can see Billy the puppet is drawn on the chalkboard behind him, which is so funny because it's so obvious. And then, like you say, like this was the first time around watching it, I'd noticed it. But it's not like they tried to hide it, it's right there. Because you do get so many Easter eggs that some of them are like, oh, well, you know, that poster you only see for like 1 second was a really big reference. Or this, it was on the screen for like 30 seconds right there. And I just had no, like, yeah, never noticed it before. And I was like, for fuck's sake. Would I see the ghost child? Probably not.
Yeah. You know what? I think when I first watched this, I didn't see the ghost child. I think obviously I saw him eventually, but when Renee's like walking and doing the washing, I think I missed the child the first time I watched this.
It makes me worry now that if I'm just walking around my flat, how many ghost children when I just casually walking past?
Especially in your flat, mate.
Yeah, no, there's definitely a demon in the attic. Probably fucking doing his nails and his lipstick.
Were you, I mean, we can obviously cut this, but you were going to tell me a story and you didn't tell me because I was staying over. Would you like to share this with the listeners?
Can. I absolutely can. Yeah, now that you're not sleeping on my sofa tonight, I will tell you. Because I literally think it was the day before you
Story
stayed
time.
over. Story time. Yeah, so we have a running joke that my house is haunted, or my flat is haunted. There's a very friendly demon that lives in the attic, but it's got to the point we've heard like knocking before, and I've literally been like, I literally shouted demon, not now, it's bedtime, and it suddenly fucking stopped. So like they're friendly enough because they stop and let us sleep, which was very considerate of said demon. But yes, the day before you came to stay over, I was in the shower and our shower curtain's white, and all of a sudden, I swear to fucking God, it was like I thought my partner was in the bathroom. There was just a human silhouette on the other side of the curtain, and it just like moved across and looked like it just walked out of the bathroom. And so I started shouting at Mitch, and I was like, were you just in the bathroom? Like, what did you come to get? And he was like, no, I haven't moved off the sofa. And I was absolutely convinced that someone was in the bathroom. There was an actual silhouette there. And before I was like, it was your shadow. No, that's not how the lighting works in my bathroom. It's not physically possible. And so this is why when you stayed over, I was like, I'm not going to tell you because you're not going to go to the bathroom all night. So I don't know if that was the demon from that. We started worrying. Oh my God. We started worrying that like one of the neighbors had passed and like their spirit was up in here. No, not that we heard of any of them, but like, I swear to God. So you glad I didn't tell you before you spent it?
Yeah, I'm so glad. Fucking hell.
Mitch has woken up and seen like shadows at the end of the bed. I never have. Mitch has, and I've been like, yeah, I don't want to.
Did Mitch freak out or?
But again, like we've never had any harm. There's just kind of like, there's definitely some. You were? Oh yeah, we were making pancakes on Pancake Day once. And we made an even number because there's two of us. And then as we were like sharing them out, there was just missing pancakes. And it was like down to an odd number. And I was like, what the fuck? Like why is the demon stealing pancakes? So every time something goes missing, we blame the demon. We bought a bottle of soy sauce once that was on the receipt. We brought it up the stairs in the bag. And then suddenly it was gone when we went to put it in the cupboard. And we were like, what the fuck does the demon need pancake and soy sauce for? The fuck is he making up there?
So have you been up there?
Yeah. Do you know what's really funny? If I go into because like we've got suitcases up there, we've got Christmas decorations. If I go up into the loft, the light switch is outside the loft. So I knock first, turn the light on, and then I bring the ladder down. I won't just go up there unannounced. Like, if he stays in the attic, fine, but I'll be respectful if I come to the attic.
Wow.
But this is the thing, we've never had anything negative. Although oh my God, I was doing some packing for work once, but it was like COVID time. So I had
This is going to make such a good clip, by the way.
This was such a funny clip. Chantal's house is absolutely haunted. And I had to go get some supplies from the office, bring them home. And I was packing up like pencil cases. So I had like 50 pairs of scissors in the flat. All of a sudden, I'm halfway through packing. I could not find these scissors anywhere. To the point I rang my manager because he was at the office that day. And I was like, hey, can you check the desk? Like, have I left scissors behind? Check my car. 50 fucking pairs of scissors just vanished. And I was like, what is the demon building with 50 pairs of scissors? So yeah, Demon Adventures with Tell.
Okay.
But he's never nicked my lipstick, so it's not the lipstick face demon.
Okay, at least, yeah, you can rule that demon out,
Yeah.
at least.
It's weird
Oh
though.
my God.
It's weird because we don't not a lot happens. All of those, we've been here like 7 years. So there's probably been about 7 events in those 7 years. So again, it's not like a lot happens. It's probably like, yeah, it's not even one a year. That's like, because like, again, we might get like 2 things happen in a month, but then nothing will happen for a year and a half. So it's really weird, really unpredictable. Every now and then, though, like Mitch will be away for the weekend, and I'm like, cool, flat to myself. Demon, be nice.
Demon, be nice to me.
I said, if you're gonna give yourself a manicure, come down, we'll do it together, girl. Like,
girls' night.
girls' night, demon night in. Um, so yeah, you're never gonna want to sleep in my flat again, are you?
No. Well, I'm making you sleep next to me.
Yeah, but I've had like several showers, obviously, since in my flat, and I've never seen something else in the bathroom. But I was convinced Mitch was in the bathroom. It was such.
Was it also that you could feel someone in there with you? Because sometimes, you know, when like you have that feeling that someone's looking at you, like from behind, you feel like someone's watching you. Was it like that?
It wasn't. No, it wasn't like, oh, someone's watching me and I turned around. But I just like was kind of
saw it, something.
Yeah, I just turned around. There was just like a human shadow silhouette. But it was, again, because our bath is like slightly up, so it was like my height, which is why I thought it was Mitch, because I was obviously at a height. So I was like, oh, they're taller than me. And then he just walked out. So I thought Mitch had just come in to like get something. And I was like, are you okay? What did you need? And he was like, what? And then like came in from the lounge. And I was like, were you not just in here? What the fuck? Like, yeah, that really spooked me. Which is why, yeah, I was like, I'm not going to tell you that right before you sleep over.
Well, the demon had obviously paid you a visit before I came over, so I'm happy about that.
Again, that was the one event for like the year. I was like, I don't know.
Yeah, you're definitely sleeping next to me, you know. So Mitch can sleep on the bed on his own.
I'm like, one day a burglar's going to break in or something and the demon will suddenly fucking appear and scare them off. That's what I'm hoping. Like, we've got quite a good, when we first moved in, there was a few things, like a lot of knocking. And again, once we were like, not a night, no knocking now, it stopped and we don't really get it anymore. So everyone was like, it's squirrels. I'm like, no, it's a fucking, like, it's human size noise. Like, it's not a little squirrel doing a fucking.
So it's like a proper knock.
Yeah, it was like a proper fucking knock. It kept happening in 3s as well. And then you let me the fucking exorcism book and everything happens in 3s. And I was like, you fucking kidding me? Like, which is why I was
Jesus
like,
Christ, I didn't know it was this bad.
Yeah, this was like when we first moved in.
And then I was like, this is going to make a funny clip. And I'm fucking scared.
He's now calling fucking Ed and Lorraine. Like, but again, nothing bad has happened because we seem to have a mutual understanding. I knock before I come in the attic and he doesn't come downstairs much. So we're fine.
Much.
But I also work from home now. So I'm home 90% of the time. And there's not
you don't hear.
No, I don't really hear like shit during. It's so rare that it doesn't really bother me. This is why, like, I'm fine at haunted houses. I'm like, bitch, I live in one. Like,
wow, what an amazing side note. Right, okay.
Side note, Chantel is actually living in the fur. That's why she's fine.
If anyone has any questions for Tel and her demon,
my demon buddy,
flatmate, then
fucking
please ask away.
Like, I know I've got all this shit on the walls. That's probably why he's like, you're weirder than I am.
Probably loving it. Yeah.
Yeah, here's what we talk about.
Hilarious.
It's like, fine.
Wow.
I swear I told you more about the demon. I think I tried to downplay it because I'm like, if people come over, they're not going to want to know there's a demon in the attic. We also call it demon because we think it's funny. It could literally just be a really nice spirit. Like, do you know what I mean? It could, there's nothing implying it's evil whatsoever. We just joke that it's a demon. I really want to, because I do doodle now and then, but I'm not great at art. I do really want to make it like a little comic strip of like the weird things that have happened with the demon. Because like missing pancakes is stupid. That's a funny story. Like,
yeah, and soy sauce.
Yeah, and soy sauce. Like, why is the demon eat fucking soy sauce? He's putting on the mice up there.
Wow. Okay, that was an eye opener for me and the listeners.
Sorry, extra side note. So Mitch made us like a wooden reindeer for Christmas, which was lovely. The first year it was here, it was downstairs. Didn't obviously because it was Christmas time. We put little baubles on it. It went upstairs and lived in the attic for a year. Came back down the next Christmas, and we had like 2 or 3 weird things while it was down, and then we put it back up, and they all stopped. So Mitch is convinced the demons moved into the reindeer. We didn't bring it down last Christmas and we didn't have any problems. And I was like, this can't be real. This can't work.
This can't be a thing.
But it means if we move house, we may have to leave the reindeer behind because it may come with us.
Fucking hell.
So yeah, we got a haunted reindeer demon thing. But anyway, any other so I'm just looking at a couple of the facts. So Insidious was actually filmed in 3 weeks.
Okay.
Which is impressive. Again,
that is very
half
impressive.
the film was done in a big dark room though, so
yeah, maybe it's not that impressive.
I'm really not giving this dark room any praise whatsoever. And there you go, you mentioning tiptoe through the window. So the song heard oftentimes when ghosts are around is the 1968 hit Tiptoe Through the Windows, performed by Tiny Tim, which maybe that's why the kid ghost is dressed that way. You right?
Is it not Tiptoe Through the Tulips?
Sorry, Tiptoe Through the Tulips. I even read it and I read it wrong.
Tiny Tim, that's right, maybe, because obviously he kind of gave off like a Tiny Tim vibe from like Scrooge, Christmas Carol. Also a kind of not scary, but kind of like I guess interesting fact about Tiny Tim. I believe he died on stage.
Oh,
so I wonder why I wonder if they picked that artist or that song given like the nature of his death. And like
that's also
he died in 1996 after suffering a heart attack during a performance.
Wow. Oh, that's so upsetting.
So it's but it's also kind of like haunting. So I wonder if that's like why maybe they picked that particular song. Also, it's a really fucking creepy song and it goes very well with the film. But I wonder if that also his backstory also had something to do with it.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, no, interesting.
So yeah, sorry, he didn't die on stage, but he had a heart attack on stage, which then afterwards, caused him to die, which is very sad.
Yeah, that's really sad.
He was 64, so
oh wow, young.
Yeah.
But for the rest of the theme music, 33 violins were used. Why are violins such a beautiful and such a creepy instrument, depending on how they're played?
Damn.
And there was us saying that it would have been a very creepy maze at a theme park. In 2015, it actually was the themed maze at Universal Studios Orlando.
Excellent.
Halloween Horror Nights, which I can say this time.
Yeah, you've been practicing.
I have. Yeah, sorry. No, you already pointed that out. But yeah, I don't have loads of fun facts with this one. Other than everyone bullying Patrick Wilson.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I mean, should we go straight to the questions?
Let's do it.
So, Chantel.
Yes.
Would you survive the further and the lipstick face demon thing?
I actually don't know, because I want to say yes because I live with a demon, so I feel like I'm practiced. But I also feel it's a hard one, isn't it? Because like we thought the dad had done well, and then the woman had taken his body. So I think that's the thing. If you're in the further, it is just it's a race against you and like 60 demons trying to get in your body. And I just don't know. It does seem a little bit weird. I actually don't know if I'd have made it to the further, because as I said, I think if I'd been home alone and heard those noises over the baby monitor, that would have done me in. That was so fucking creepy. So I want to say yes, because I just don't think it was that scary in the further, but I just don't know if I'd make it that far. I don't know. This is a hard one. I feel like, again, I can't say no to a film I wasn't this scared by. Yeah. I'll say yes because I live with a demon already, so I'm pretty well protected.
Nice. Yeah, you know the
signs.
demon's
just biding its time. one way or the other. What about you?
Well, there's a part of me that does want to say yes, because like when Josh is confronted by the old lady, like I think she tries to like strangle him, he kind of just like pushes her away. And I feel like that is a common theme with like how you fight these demons. Like Elise kind of just pushes them and they kind of just fuck off. So I think I'd try that.
That's true, actually. Yeah, they don't take a lot of fighting.
Yeah. But also I agree with you with the baby monitor that would have just done me in. Like I would have been so scared. So I'm gonna say yes on the fact that like I think Josh didn't really seem to be struggling too much I think I would struggle with getting back to my body.
Yeah,
I would get lost.
Yeah, that's it. I was like, I don't remember. Have I been past that demon before? I don't know.
So given the fact that I've seen them just kind of push them, I'm gonna back myself and give it a go.
Yeah. I think as soon as we get back though, whoever went to the further, the other one has to take a photo straight away. So we know if we need to
good idea.
Immediately start an exorcism. Okay, well, what was your favorite spooky moment? What are you giving this spookies out of 5?
My favorite spooky moment, I was gonna say the baby monitor, but I'm not gonna be so predictable. I'm probably gonna say the long-haired fiend when he's hiding behind the curtain, because it kind of, as the camera pans, you just sort of casually see it, but it scared me so much, and him as a character just really freaked me out. So I'm gonna say that was probably my spooky moment of the film. I'm going to give this 3 spookies because I think I would definitely watch this again. I think the fact that I have watched the others, this is one of the best. I think probably the best one in the franchise, which isn't saying a lot, but it is, you know.
Better. Franchises.
Yeah, Blumhouse. And I think it is quite a fun watch in general. I think that like if me and you watching it with some wine and and a couple of pizzas, I think it would be quite fun. So yeah, I'm going to give it 3 because I think it is in general quite a solid horror film. What about you?
So my favorite spooky moment, I'm going to go with the jump scare, the popping up behind it. 1, because it became an absolute meme and was just brilliant. 2, is the first thing I think of when I think of this film, and 3, it's genuinely scary. Even now when I'm like, I'm sure it's coming, it's still fucking scary. I'm gonna give this 2.5 because again, I like half the film, don't really like the other half.
Fair.
So I'm gonna give it 2.5 out of 5 spookies, and that's it. Yeah. Wow, that was our Insidious episode. Look at us whipping through it. Join us again next week for another episode, but check us out on all the socials to see what's coming up, and then you can watch along and then listen to us chat shit about it. And until then, bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
You'll get attacked by a demon.
Yeah, don't